That's so much better than when people say, nice shoes. They do every time.
Nice shoes.
Thank you. I bought them for a lot of money. It was called Birth. Birth dollars. Hi, how are you all doing? I am feeling really stoked to be here. I've never been to Kingston before. This is the first time. Yeah. And I got a piece for you here, but before I get into it, I wanted to do something that we do quite frequently in Vancouver, which is it's a cathartic team building exercise known as the fist pump. And what's going to happen is we're all going to and just make sure before we do this that your flight path is clear, because we're all going to pump our fists in the air. I don't want anyone to get like uppercut. And as we pump our fists in the air, we're all going to yell something together at the same time. I'll count you in 3, 2, 1 when we do this. And tonight, because you'll see why, but also because I'm from Vancouver and I feel like you guys, from what I've been hearing and seeing, you have the same problem out here as we do, which is property development. So we're going to fist pump property development together. Like it's a good thing, okay? We'll pretend it's a good thing. So, 3, 2, 1, property development! Someday, when I have made millions of dollars from my poetry, so any day soon now, I'm gonna buy a condo. A building named Artist, or Creative, or The Original. Something with a suitably bohemian veneer. Then, because everybody needs a hobby, I'll take up real estate development in my spare time. Until that point, however, I am currently living in a 32 square foot walk-in closet, for which I am very fortunate to only pay $250, and that'd be a perfect time for only $250. It's the state of things in Vancouver. And this was really made clear to me when I ran into my cousin in East Vancouver, and we both grew up there, and he and his partner were expecting their first kid, and it's not like they have bad jobs, they both have good jobs, but he was saying that, given the state of things when you're expecting a child and the expenses of living in that city, they had decided to move back into his mom's basement. And so I joked with him that I'm like, well, really, since this is more and more common in Vancouver, instead of calling it like living with our parents, we should refer to it as intergenerational housing. So it was fortuitous that we came up with that, because a few months later, just this past summer actually, I spent a couple months in one of these intergenerational housing units. While I was trying to think of what I was going to do for this particular tour, in fact, and I knew that I wanted to write something that was going to touch on love, because it's poetry and who doesn't want to talk about love, and what I see as the collective nature of our individuality, and also the most happy topic of all, death. I was sitting there, as you do, and it was about 3 in the afternoon, and as I like to do in Vancouver in the summer, I was wearing my long johns and nothing else, just long johns, and just come in from smoking a spliff on my parents' back porch. Exactly, yeah, and I was putting on some music that would, help inspire me to write about these things, help get me going. And I don't know if you guys know Wax Mannequin, but I was listening to Wax Mannequin, yeah. And there's this song, Animals Come Home, and I was listening to it, and suddenly, next thing I knew, I was like out of my chair, and I was just like walking out, just like getting into it, and I was just like, yeah. And then I'm like singing along, and I'm like, the animals are for real. It's hitting me. I'm like, they're fucking for real. They're so fucking for real. And then it hit me that I was like, I love this song. It bubbles under my nipples. It pastes lips to my breastbone. It sets sparrows zipping in one ear and out the other, melts bird cages and glues feathers to my arms. And when I hear this song, I perform an arbutus striptease, peeling back my layers to reveal green skin, becoming a dancer composed of sticky marrow and new breath. When I hear this song, I fuck myself. Spin the orgasmic orbit of empty space. Empty space transforms my voice box into a vacuum, absorbing the warbling from every corner of the universe, until all I can say is, this song. It's not just that song or this song, it's more than that. It's more like this song. The song that mismatches your socks for you on awkward Sundays, or whatever day you think is full of holes. The song that sucks on your earlobes, gives your arm hair a hard-on. The song that seduces dignity and makes the dawn blush. The song that makes you shape-shifting puzzle piece, makes you rattle bones until they stick against skin. Let it go, see if it comes back again. This song lures you into gardens, baptizes you with original skin, tempts you with knowing fruit, and licks the stickiness from your lips with a rough tongue. And when this song licks you, it feels like needles fitting a groove. Like playgrounds where children can still hurt themselves. Like pit bulls on laughing gas. Your chin bobs its head. Your pinky toe discovers a sense of purpose. Your right brain brews thunder. Your left brain weeps uncontrollably. Your vital organs flower into an orchard. Everywhere inside you, pollinators drink hard cider and buzz, a choral version of sexual healing. Although this song is not your sex life, it just might make your crotch feel really good. Move around a little, like a concussion. The song might remind you are skin and bone and blood. Blood and cum and sweat. Sweat, salt, and passing wind. It might spin you a vision of lightning firing clay, sparking this song out of silence, of a flightless buzzard with trees for hands and amphibious feet. When I hear this song, I hear my last breath's first kiss and the mud between my grass stains. I hear my heartbeat, taste my iron, smell what I musk, feel my primate. And I see why bonobos would laugh at these human questions of clothes and decency, and then gesture fig-stuffed mouths, lice-plucking fingers, the tickle touch and murmur that binds our blood. And it reminds me of the way we stood around the side of the house party, passing fire mouth to mouth, when I heard her voice exclaiming, "I love figs! They're like ripe testicles that explode in your mouth!" Saw her feed a smile to anyone with eyes, and couldn't get the taste of figs out of my ears. I think bonobos would like how our smiles sat together out on the walkway, soaked through from lost hours of chattering downpour, no ears for the skeptics on their porch, with their promise of jackets and dry skin, too busy grooming, breaking boundaries and erasing time with the slightest touch. A head scratch, a hand brush, a belly pinch, a glance shared with a tree full of others or stolen. Wondering if we primates have such beautiful eyes, the better to become lost within. Some hours passed, squeezing words round the figs stuffed in our cheeks, letting the rain stroke our faces, making fingers in our eyes to run through one another's fur. Some hours passed, or something happened. Chilled skin tangled with blankets on a hardwood floor as we passed a piece of fruit back and forth between our tongues and eyes, and all from the slightest touch. Before there were words, a glance in the rain, as smiles danced in the mud, the branches trembling with chatter, bearing witness, as figs ripened in our eyes. And it's in moments like that I begin to feel that we are all composers, sight-reading eternity. All bass lines and beats and scattered verses interweaving. We are notes flying off the page, sliding one to another, sliding and breaking, suggesting and surprising, fumbling and fucking. And so I would go so far as to say that we are all love songs. Just not love. I mean, not like love. Not a candy cane soap opera or a sweet and sour sugar glaze. Not a shot of butterscotch or a toffee pudding after story. Not a cheese dip yoga pose or a cocoa buffet. Not even a meat strip slather party, no. Love, like a sweat stain. Like a drunk rabbit dodging cats. Like a pickpocket handshake, a jalapeno slaughterhouse, a blood-stained high heel. Love, like a barbed wire massage when there is nothing but sore muscles. Love like a cook fire, a four-pronged tuning fork bent out of shape. A ravishing wildebeest, an atomic bomb whispering the only word it knows. Love. The way we didn't speak for 2 hours, only looked at one another after I handed her a note that read, "If eyes were lips, when ours met, there was a furious makeout session." Love. The way my youngest cousin calms in my arms, resting in bass notes as I hum Northwest Passage and bounce him to the rhythm. Love. The way some friends and I made a pact that whosoever of us dies like an idiot, as one of us is bound to do, the others must piss on his grave. Love. The way my mother always used to remind me that we're family. And you love your family! Love that longs to be a shoehorn that slides my feet into your shoes and yours into mine. And it is out of such love that I have taken to building my niece a bookshelf. And I'm really excited about this project, so I'd like to tell you how I'm building the first shelf out of a memory of nights when her grandfather would sit on my bedside and we would read aloud to one another from Kevin O'Connor and the Light Brigade, a beautiful red hardcover with skeletons charging under a navy blue sky on the on the jacket, on the horseback too. There's already some books on this shelf. Redfish, Bluefish, and Hop on Pop, as well as a book of paintings and few words about the life cycles of salmon. The second shelf, I'll build out of the pocket-sized poetry books her grandmother used to keep on a bedside table. So here, she'll learn about sonnets and haiku that aren't too revolting. Every living thing and whatever stories of myth time call her attention. She might sit on my knees the way I sat upon her great-grandfather's and learn the music of speaking when the words call forth her voice. The third shelf, I'll build out of the masking tape that holds together my first copy of Lord of the Rings. And here, she'll find her way with a golden compass, riding sandworms with Beowulf or Odysseus, or she might travel to the moon in the shell of a giant snail where she'll learn the language of trees, or she might dive into a pool, find herself in another world entirely where everything that moves has words. The fourth shelf, I'm going to make out of the bindings of old journals. So here she'll learn about ceremony and free enterprise. Bad teenage poetry, and raven song rising into thin air. Everywhere being is dancing on this shelf. The book thief goes train spotting and finds the kiss of the fur queen, where some birds walk for the hell of it, and orange is not the only fruit of American gods. By the time that she is tall enough to reach the books on this shelf, she'll be old enough to do as she likes with them. Old enough that when she asks me why the last book on the last shelf is Oh, the Places You'll Go, I'll be able to tell her, because that shit's fucking timeless. Inside its cover, she'll find a note reminding her that a bookshelf should be a garden bed for stories. That she should learn the greasy fingerprints, the watermarks, and all the dog-eared pages. Learn to read the notes and rips and tears in the margins, the broken bindings, the missing bindings, the bindings that open to hands like the hearts of old friends. To learn that books are made for generations of fingers, and that I made this bookshelf out of a memory and a dream that someday I might hand down a little red hardcover under a navy blue sky with the words, "Take this book into your hands, and know you are holding your grandfather's." And I do this for my niece, as I would were she my own daughter, for though I long to be a father, I can't say if I'll ever have children of my own. And I keep hearing friends tell me that it's a cruel thing to bring more children into this world, given the state of things, and I can't say that they're wrong. After all, I see this world. The grass never as green as billboards advertise, looking sickly pale under the sky made purple and orange from all this gaslight as radioactivity blankets every silence, and our daily bread soaks in pinstripe and machine grease. And yet still, I long to see a child of my own blood discover this world even as it is, with eyes and ears and lips, guts and fingertips, to discover humor and sorrow and rage, stench and tension and shattered glass and all this song washing over them.
Woo!
So I tell my friends I don't feel like I have much say in the matter. I am just another bastard of chance caught halfway between muscle and memory. A child of paradox and strange turns. An incoherent mumble in a megaphone mouth. And so I am torn between creating a pulse and being repulsed. And even as I long to whirl with another body in this act of long division, I want to say, fuck it all, and run to the hills and leave this world behind. And in spite of all the terrible things that might be this motivation to run, the desire is strongest when I hear other people in my generation speaking so seriously about their interlocking posts on Facebook. Then, I wish to become an ascetic. I wish to climb a mountain, find a cave, lie on my back day after day, meditate and ask, God, or Mother, or Universe, is this really your plan? And people will climb my mountain, so I will rush from my cave to greet them, clad only in rags and a ragged beard, and they will probably ask me, do you have Wi-Fi? So I will masturbate furiously into the palm of my hand, hold it aloft, and say, yes! Here is my network! It is unsecured! Then, as semen trickles down my wrist, I will rotate my ass towards them, and with my clean hand, lest I get internet in my outlet, I will spread a cheek, point to my anus, and say, you may plug in here if you need to recharge your batteries! In this way, I will keep other people away from my mountain. Out of my little hotspot of cold, hard reality. But when the tsunami of cancer and heavy metals and electric rapture washes over these hills, when the motherboards have all suffered a meltdown and the power plants have all withered, then they will return to me, desperate for internet, and they will call me their public location. So I will pop up a warning bubble that reads, I am nothing but an extension cord electrifying the navel of fleshliness. Woo. Do not call me your touchscreen. I have no apps that will aid in your survival. There are none that guarantee mine. I mean, let's be real for a second. The only way I could survive in a cave in the wild all that time by myself is if I wrote it into a poem so I would have an excuse to say to my fellow humans that your best chance of surviving is your network. And your network is a resource that these bodies produce. The only chance you have of surviving is the reproduction of lines spoken many times before being remixed for a new generation of users. And yeah, that would be a pretty weird thing to do. But then all my life I've been called a weirdo. And after all, like all mammals, like all of you, I am just another dancing salt flat that shits mineral deposits and bleeds oceanic. And as if that wasn't weird enough to begin with, I'm one that loves to hide in dark corners and yet lives for the spotlight. But there are many weird things I've done in my life, and among the weirdest is probably to dedicate considerable time and energy to the study of Anglo-Saxon, better known as Old English, from which study I learned that weird actually means fate, or destiny, or more accurately and more cheerfully, death fate. As in, your weird is your fatal destination, and not just the oddities and boddities of which you are made. And perhaps the best way for me to explain this is Superman, as I did one drunk night when a friend asked me, what is kryptonite to Superman? To which I gamely answered, his weakness, his flaw, his Achilles heel, but he just said, no, I've had those answers already, it's not that. And then it hit me, it's his weird. For surely kryptonite is fated to be involved in the death of Superman, and yet the fact that he is an interstellar humanoid with fantastical powers who can only be hurt by kryptonite makes him pretty fucking weird. And I know the idea that we are captive to fate and divine trickery isn't so popular these days, so I suppose I should tell you that my concept of free will is a train running uphill towards a split in the tracks, repeating to itself, I think I choose, I think I choose, I think I choose, I think I choose. And that I see life as a death sentence, as in, by having come into this world, I will therefore go out of this world. So in the meantime, I'm just here. And if that seems limiting to your potential, I might tell you that wings are a limitation that allow birds to fly, the way this body has limitations that allow me to dance. Woo! Like my heart murmurs that I cannot bypass this medical inheritance from my forefathers, but I can take heart from their morbid humor. Like my grandmother's storytelling moves this mouth and teaches my words to be host and kitchen and cook fire. Like I was raised on books of poetry, learned to speak from poetry, and can do little else besides. And yet I would still describe us all as marvelously complex biological phenomena. Puddles of dust become microverse. And yet say that in spite of this inborn sense of agency, things will be as they will be, and we are as we are. And what I am, as far as my limited sense of self-awareness allows me to say, is a shy exhibitionist with an itchy brain and the words, "Love is alive and its asshole tastes delicious," tattooed on my smile. Just another ragged stranger preaching a gospel of weirdos. Which is maybe why I like it when missionaries come speak to me. Like the young highwayman of Christ who ambushed me while I sat puffing in the grass outside of a SkyTrain station. I bore him no ill will, but the look on that Mormon boy's face when I finished with him was priceless. After I told him that I could care less about life after death, that I am happy to focus my energy on living now and living well while I do it, he launched into his bit about the cost of admission to paradise being accepting Jesus as my Lord and savoring the way those words felt in his mouth. He was shocked when I interrupted him to say, "You know, actually, I don't rightly know that I believe death exists." With that, I began walking away, as this young missionary followed at my heels like some slack-jawed disciple asking, "You mean you don't believe we die?" I assured him that we do, that our bodies cease to be, but I was tempted in that moment to see if I might convert him to the view that we are an unending cascade of echoes and gestures. Passing clouds turned mountains and ever-present sky. That when the body is gone, the breath remains. So I might have told that boy about my grandfather, and how the old man lives at home in my voice, when I hum solutions to my problems with his plodding baritone in my throat. Or in my knees, when they foreshadow the feeling of his cane in my hands. Or in my arms, when they long to hold my loved ones in a great big bear hug. Or I might have told that boy about a friend and fellow poet, and how sometimes I feel his breath pass into my body, steal through my lips faster than they can give it shape, transforming my words into his lightning, striking quick and articulate. Or how his words still straighten my spine, or how my ribs grow sore from his punching when I remember how he would tell me, "You have to be tougher, Johnny," and laugh and laugh and laugh. Or how I still hear him speak on the tongues of those his voice lifted. And yeah, I would tell him that when his body was gone, I puddled in grief and senseless alcohol and felt like a lost child. And yeah, when he died, many voices loosed a heart-rent howl, many hands forgot how to work, many words transformed into incoherent moans of agony, and I kept hearing people agree that it was a tragedy that should have been averted, yet I could only think, let us die in foolish accidents. This has always been our way. And his echoes still shake the ground, cracking voices and bursting dams, and I am still shaken with tears and laughter, thinking the hardest part must be that his body is gone, but his breath remains. Then I might have told that boy about the fates, those weird sisters, who only make their cuts so all these yarns might be woven into a larger fabric where we will live together again as two words in a sentence, bonded molecules in exhalation, a subconscious gesture. I might have gone on to say the word yarn derives from a root that means guts, intestines, those chords on which our body plays when it plugs in and goes electric. And then I might have asked him to listen to the music vibrating on those twisted strings inside him and told him that we are sound shaped out of silence, nothing more than music of the cosmos, resonating waves washing one over the other, and told him how every wave breaks and washes back into the sea, giving rise to new swells, just as the body goes, but the breath remains. Finally, I might have told that boy that I am happily on my way to whatever weird place it is that I am going. That if I have any thought of an afterlife, it is a dream. That I will become a story and a compost heap. A glimmer in the eye and a curling lip. A pool of laughter in the lungs of those who never knew me. And a drop of water in the eyes of those who did. That I will become a signpost reading, "Love you're weird," and pointing in whichever direction it is that you are traveling. That I will leave behind me such things as a sound of dirty laughter, a smell of aged paper, a touch of rain and wet hair, a taste of fix, an echo rumbling in the ears of those I leave behind that sounds like a smile saying, this, this, this. Because this song is the song that never ends. And really, it sounds like nothing at all, and everything, all at once. Thank you. Thank you very much.